Good morning, everybody. This is moral science video with the story The King Has Lost His Finger. You cannot change some things that happen around you. You must not let this upset you. Instead, you should learn to find good in difficult situations. Keeping positive thoughts help us to overcome obstacles. People who think positively always stay happy because no matter what life hands them, their positivity gets them through. Now watch the story in the video to find out how finding good in difficult situations keeps us happy. Now let's keep in mind, try not to worry over small things. Try to be calm and positive when something troubles you. Have confidence in your abilities and talent. And try not to be negative and hateful all the time. In a kingdom far away, there ruled a king whose minister was wise and intelligent. The king and his minister could spend time together after duties of the court were over. Often they could practice sword fighting. One day, when they were practicing with their swords, they carried away by their enthusiasm. Before the king realized it, the sword slipped from his hand and cut one of his fingers. The king was shocked and could not accept such a good thing happened to him. After all, how could he, the mighty king, lose his finger with his own sword, and in such a petty and careless manner? What could be the people think of his kingdom? Their king losing his finger during sword practice? It was a huge blow to his ego and self-respect. He started to lose his temper. But the wise minister, instead of going into panic or sympathizing with the king, told very calmly, "Your Majesty, don't be angry. Everything happens for a reason. There is some good in even the bad things that could happen to us. I am quite certain your finger has been cut for your own good." In this slide, you can see the mood of the king is very bad. The king could not understand why his minister was being so foolish. How could it be good in any way to lose his finger? He was absolutely sure that the minister had lost his mind, or he had lost all respect for the king. He ordered his soldiers to throw the impertinent minister into a dungeon. Dungeon is a prison. The minister begged the king to heed his advice and not fall prey to his anger, but the king was in no mood to listen. Later one day, the king was traveling through the forest in his kingdom. The local tribes thought he was an outsider and took him as a prisoner. They decided to offer him as a sacrifice to please their goddess. They dragged him to a flat stone upon which he was asked to lay his head. The tribal priest came and stood beside him, raised his sharp sword towards the sky and said a few words in praise of the goddess. Then he started preparing to sacrifice the king before the goddess. As he was about to do so, he noticed that the king had a missing finger. He stopped and discussed with others. They decided that they could not offer their goddess an incomplete body that could anger her, so they set the king free. When the king returned to his palace, he called for his minister. He told him about the entire incident and asked for his forgiveness. He ordered his release from the dungeon, and the minister was glad to be restored to his position in the king's court. He bowed to the king and said, "Your Majesty, something good did come of having your finger cut. After all." The king laughed and understood the meaning of his minister's words. "Now you people decide. From now on, I will think positively about others, think positively about myself, not to be worried when something does not happen the way you wanted it to happen." Wise thought. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Now it's question time. Sharing kind words with others is an important step in learning how to be positive. Think of an incident where you saw positive thinking. Write a few lines about it and submit to me on my personal WhatsApp window.